And I am back with not only just another build video, but yet another zoner type build. This idea was actually inspired to me. Anyways, it was inspired by my buddy Flip, cause one of his sayings is a zoner type. Only his way of zoning is more by abusing or spamming the heck out of regular key blasts and spamming Frieza's Emperor's Death Beam. Only problem is, whenever I found any kind of key blast, it didn't give me anything like super armor. Well, here's one. Your key blast type. Rush key blast. Oh, no, homing key blast. I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, finding the right super soul to give you certain moves, or at least give you certain type of key blast. That's why for me, I don't really rely on regular key blasts. Not to mention how limited their range, their damage, and everything is. Well, unless you're trying to distract the opponent. But I'm thinking if you really want to zone but go for damage, that's why I primarily work on the super and ultimate builds. I'm trying to think, have I done a rushdown build? I should probably make that the next video I make after this. Because I think the grappler build is the only one I did so far that involves fighting up close. Whereas just about almost every other build is fighting at a distance. But a lot of the key blast moves in this game really lend themselves to the zoner build. So for supers, I have Die Missile Barrage, Endless Shoot, Crush Cannon. Ultimates, I have Super Spirit Bomb and God Punisher. As far as stamina breaks, well, there's only like maybe a few that are good for at a long distance, but definitely considering how easy your stamina can be broken, I'd say any kind of stamina break is good, just as long as it does its job of getting you out of an opponent's attack. But then I only had Blaster Meteor because I forgot to switch it out, but I'd say if you're just trying to use stamina break to get out of the way of an attack or something, then super front or back jump would be better than Blaster Meteor since they use 2 instead of 3 bars. And as far as ultimates, I have God Punisher and Super Spirit Bomb, but almost any kind of Key Blast ultimate would work. And I say almost because, well, the beam ultimates in this game, they do good damage. Same thing as far as supers, uh, beam beam based beam blast type key attacks. They do good damage, but really that's like the only thing they have is that they do good damage. Can't really use them to home in on the opponent except for the homing Kamehameha. No, bending Kamehameha. That's like the only bend or the only kind of beam attack that can be used to home in on the opponent. So that's why for this zoner build, I have all of these other attacks. Now I'm pretty sure if I remember, yeah, I showed off a similar type of zoning build for the Namekian. Only those were all almost like just one and done type key blasts. This one is for firing multiple key blasts at once just to harass your opponent. Or if you want to support your team, where you want to support them from a range while they're doing all the rushing down, all the combos and everything, just hit your opponent with multiple key blasts. And I say definitely Die Missile Barrage is the best for that. But you also have Endless Shoot. Let's see, so that was Endless Shoot. Damage 7489. Die Missile Barrage 3120. So Endless Shoot, if you hold down the button and if you have enough key, will do more damage in the end. Whereas Die Missile Barrage It's one and done, fire multiple key blasts. So for both of them, as far as getting max damage, you gotta make every beam, hit. And for Die Missile Barrage, same thing. So trying to do Die Missile Barrage up close. Well, if you're trying to zone, you're not gonna really want to be that close. See, just like that, I missed. It only got like 945. Whereas with Endless Shoot being close, the character actually steps back a bit. Now, of course, with Endless Shoot, you don't have to hold the button down. Just a regular one hits up to 5 times and still does good damage. Then there's also Crush Cannon. Very straightforward. It hits multiple times, but it's still good for what it does. So that way, if you just want to fire your key blast forward, but don't have to worry about any of the key attacks missing. But how can I put this? So out of the 3, Crush Cannon is the most straightforward. But also, you can hold it down for more damage. Or you can block, and pressing the block button, if I remember, the amount of damage you would get from charging it all the way, you will get that same damage next time you fire it, even without holding it. So what's it on its own? 2,496. Hold it down. 5,462. Let's hold it. Now let's see, other attacks like Endless Shoot. Throw out some random key blasts. Now let's try Crush Counter again. Yep, even after doing a whole bunch of other moves, the amount of damage, just because you charged it but decided to hold on to it, gets you increased damage. So you can do that. And so while your teammate is still rushing in on the opponent, hitting them from whatever angle, you can do other stuff like hit them with a few key blasts or key blast rush. And when you feel like you see an opening, go for a Crush Cannon. Damn near 6,000. So this is the type of zoner build that, well, I don't know if I want to say this for all types of zoner builds, but the zoner build in general lends itself well for when you're if you're working on a team versus a one-on-one type a one-on-one fight. And I say that as well because it moves like Super Spirit Bomb. This way your teammates can cover you and your opponent won't have enough time to get out of the way of the Spirit Bomb. Look at that, 14,353 damage. And that's just in base form. Only problem is that if your opponent comes after you and your teammates can't keep them away, then yeah, it has like infinite super armor. They can't break your stamina or hit you out of it, from what I've tested, but they can just easily throw you out of it. So that's the main downside to Super Spirit Bomb is that against a regular or against an actual opponent, they can throw you out of it. Against the AI, well, it depends. Some AI are more likely to use a throw, others not so much. They'll probably just keep trying to hit you. And so that's why for an alternative, I have God Punisher. So it throws out multiple key blasts, but the cool thing is the fact that it rushes in on the opponent. Let's see how far. So I'm just outside of lock-on range. So yeah, just barely at maximum lock-on now. now. Let's do it from here. Yeah, it gets in pretty close. And if I remember, it's not the first but the second ki blast that's thrown out in God Punisher that needs to hit. So it doesn't do as much damage, like about 4,000 less, but you can combo into it. And I definitely say that any kind of ultimate ki blast that can be comboed into is definitely good to have. And again, that's all just in base form. Let's try it again with Super Saiyan Blue evolved.
Here goes.
And the reason why I say Super Saiyan Blue evolved specifically because this is another idea inspired by Flip's female Saiyan. Whenever he decides to zone with her, is that he'll do that. He will go Super Saiyan Blue and then activate something like Emperor's Death Beam. Because yeah, well obviously Super Saiyan Blue evolved drains ki the fastest, and Emperor's Death Beam uses up just about all of your ki. So if you're trying to go for like just an insane amount of damage all at once, or well, yeah, that's basically about it. Go for an insane amount of damage all at once, or even try to actually kill an opponent that has a lot of health, then that's something he would do. Go Super Saiyan Blue evolved and use Emperor's Death Beam. Now I don't have Emperor's Death Beam. I only have Super Saiyan Blue and God Punisher because as good as Emperor's Death Beam is for damage, especially against bosses, I just don't like how it's also like, what's Baby's ultimate? Not Shocking Death Ball, that's Android 17's. Oh yeah, Revenge Death Ball, where if you have more ki than what you need to activate it, it will use up the rest of that ki. And I honestly don't like ultimates that do that. Like, they're great for damage, especially extra damage, but I would still like to be able to choose if I can get that much damage or not at the cost of more ki. But if you have a lot of ki already, then yeah, you can activate Super Saiyan Blue and go for something like Super Spirit Bomb. See how much more damage I get. Hot damn, almost 20,000. I forgot Punisher. $13,000. So almost as much damage as Super Spirit Bomb did when I was in base form. So that's why I would definitely prefer these. But there's actually one other move I wanted to select and show off that I would definitely say is excellent for zoning. Depending on how long this loading screen takes. You know, I gotta start going to the offline lobby for these things, just so the loading screen won't take so long. So definitely out of these moves, I'd say the one I can easily do without would be Endless Shoot. Replace that with Double Crush. Now, is there any other moves? Now, in my Majin Zoner build, I already showed off the Bending Kamehameha. So you should already have, if you've seen that one, you should have an idea as to why that one would be good. Now, is there anything else around here I want to show off? Hey, and Namekian.
Greetings.
Now, if I had to say which key blast or key type moves are my favorite for the zoning type of build of any kind, my favorites would definitely be Die Missile Barrage and Bending Kamehameha. Just because Die Missile Barrage, it's a multi-key blast move, and I don't know too many others that are in this game like that one that not only have good tracking on the opponent, at least from a distance, and gets good damage out of it. Because the multi-key blast type projectiles or multi-projectile type moves, they just work better for zoning compared to just straight up beams. At least in a game like Dragon Ball or Xenoverse. So double crush. So they don't fire right away. Just set them up, and while you're doing your thing. So yeah, not good for combos, but you can set them up, do other moves, and while you're doing other moves, when you feel like shooting it off or firing it off, man, I cannot talk right now. Just press the button again and hit them. So double crush is very excellent as a setup type key attack. So again, maybe you got your opponent at a distance, they're coming after you, they're flying around, and while you're throwing projectiles from one direction, activate double crush, hit them from another angle. So really, double crush and crush cannon work hand in hand together. And from what I've seen, there is no limit to how long the double crush stays on. I think it only goes away if the opponent hits you. Yeah, that's about it. Opponent hits you just once, then they go away. Whereas, as long as you don't get hit or activate the move, then they just stay there, ready to be fired. Of course, like Die Missile Barrage, depending on the angle it hits the opponent or how close or far you are when you shoot them, not all of them are going to hit. So double crush and crush cannon, not the most damaging of key blasts, but the type of setups you can get with double crush and hitting your opponent with other type of key moves like crush cannon. Just the fact that you can hold them in place or hold them for later use, as long as you're careful, is what makes them work so well together. And I added Super Destructo Disc just because it just like bending Kamehameha, it homes in on the opponent. Same thing with double crush. So for moves like Destructo Disc, Double Crush, and Bending Kamehameha, very good because they home in on the opponent. Moves like Crush Cannon, also a full screen projectile that hits multiple times, but you can hold it and save it for later to get more damage next time you use it without having to hold it down again. Versus moves like the Kamehameha, Kamehameha times 10, Majin Kamehameha, where they get good damage if you hold them down, but you can't like just hold it down and then save the extra damage for later or anything of that sort. So that's why they count definitely as a one and done type move. And because of how much your character fully commits to that attack, if they miss and the beam doesn't hit anything, like for instance in this sky stage, because of how long it goes on, if your character misses, then that's just how much longer you're gonna stay in that position when you fire until your character finally recovers. So if you like using beam attacks and you want to use those as for your zoning, then by all means go ahead. But again, moves like Super Destructo Disc, Bende Kamehameha, Die Missile Barrage, Crush Cannon, and Double Crush are excellent for if you're looking more for setup and harassing the opponent and spamming on them rather than just straight up damage. And zoner builds like that really lend themselves in, in team settings, rather if it's against AI opponents, especially bosses, or against human opponents. So that's all I really have to say for now, and I think I'm gonna try to make either. I can't really make too many other grappling builds. I'll see if I can do that. Other varieties of grappler builds besides the one I made for my Namekian. But I want to try to start showing and making more rush down oriented builds. But there is one more that's a setup slash zoner type build I want to show off as well before I get into all that. But that's be in the next video. So with that, you all have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So long.